data, too much to think about. So that's not really helping us that much. Okay, so I was practicing this meditation since 1980s. So I kind of understand the importance of it, at least in my world. Um, I kind of enjoy that quietness, solitude of mind, and quietude of the mind. So I kind of am established in the silence. So I don't really necessarily sit down and meditate anymore, but we got to start somewhere. Uh, unless we start somewhere, we're not going to go anywhere. Especially with the information age, this need for the meditation has really grown, and I have been expanding my talks on that because many people are presenting with anxiety, depression, and they're not really able to get the hold of their moods, and they are not able to sleep very well. There's a lot of people come with underlying anxiety, even though they are working very well, they are making money and all that. But this worried well, we call them, they are kind of anxious underneath. So that kind of people, I really want to reach out and tell them what they could do. Simple things. They could be decluttering your digital things and really modifying your time. But there's a simple practice. I made a video recently, 3 minute solitude of mind every time you can do. That goes like this. You just take some time just to sit down, close your eyes, and focus on the breath. And thoughts going that way and this way, bring them back to the anchor of the breath. That simple practice, if it's done over the day, maybe a couple of times or 2 or 3 times, it will help you to really get hold of things. Practice more as you understand the intricacies, you'll be able to be there in awareness, in silence for a long period of time. That's what I was hoping people will get it from. Okay, so uh, for Katie or Austin, as people come in, they will come slowly, and it's not even 6 when I started, but usually they come. Okay, so people. As they come, we open up. And meanwhile, Austin, if you want to come up, I will give you a invite, and Kate also, if she wants to come up. Otherwise, also you can stay there and listen to the. It's much better if I know if you are an advanced practitioner or a practitioner of just starting it out, something like that will be much better. But if you don't know any idea about meditation, also we can start from there. So generally, this meditation was used from ancient times, right? This was used for much deeper spiritual purposes of self-realization and all that. That's why they had a simple life outwardly and a very rich inner life. Okay, they were not this kind of rat race at the time, obviously. So they were looking for spiritual fulfillment and all that. So controlling the chatter from there, really not having this chatter was much easier for them compared to us. We are brought upon thought, we are brought upon how deep thinking is good, but this thinking has become excess. This thinking has become random, all over, no direction, and also the thinking itself taking us over, so we don't even have any control of what we think. We look like we are thinking all the time, so what's wrong with it? No, but a lot of people get really disturbed by it, at least as they go into the advanced stage, so they cannot stop the mind at that time. Generally, if you understand, the input comes from outside for the thoughts or your own memories from inside, right? So if you look at something, you may have impression, you may have history, you may have something related to that particular object, you will get a thought, right? And also you will get a thought from inside that you have accumulated. If you are unconsciously thinking like that, like the thoughts are coming all over, and also you have more stimuli with this information age, we have multiple distractions, multiple things we do at the same time. All that makes your mind really run, 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 run. So, from that kind of chatter, from that kind of aimlessness, that kind of scatteredness, the first step you want to do is get them all together, concentrate, one thing. Then staying with that one thing and remaining with one thought is the next aim. Once you have really concentrated thought, you can start to observe the thoughts a little bit better, right? And especially, excuse me, if they become one thought, it's much easier for us to observe and know whether it's a negative thought or a positive thought. Once you have that identification, then you can turn the negative thought into positive thought. So concentration, watching the thought, slowing the thought, and remaining about one thought, identifying that thought from the negative to positive, and then turning the negative into positive. Those are the simple steps you can take up in your practice of meditation. You may not come to all the steps on the first day, not even first few weeks, few months, but I'm just giving a description. So you just see how you are. If you are thinking a lot, then see what are the things you are doing that may be important and not important. So eliminate all the important things, then you will have the more less of input that way. Then you start like, okay, I'm cut down some of the stimuli from outside. What can you do from the stimuli from inside? That also you kind of focus on whatever you're doing, and as you get more thoughts, come back to your focus. That's one way to really focus on whatever we are doing, and then eliminate all that clutter. Then also understanding the mechanism how this whole thing works. If you are thinking unconsciously, you are allowing all the thoughts come over, and you are not even aware of it, and you don't know how to end it. Then some of those thoughts become habits, and then they become mental habits, and then they slip into your subconscious and stay there as a nerve pass or ingrained thoughts and all that. Those ingrained thoughts actually stay there and they have their own life. Thoughts are powerful. Thoughts can go from the seed all the way to big tree, right? So you want to pay attention to that, and then you will be conscious about what you are thinking about. Once you have that habit, then you also have the habit of how can I eliminate the thoughts I don't need. So there is a daily practice I talk to people about. Before you go to bed, take some time and reflect on the things that happened during the day. Then you just eliminate the trivial things and dump them. And the important things you kind of write down on a paper or put on a device, and then forget about them for the night. So that kind of cleaning, if you start attempt to do that on a daily basis, it's a worthwhile to do in this information age. Then you can go to bed either on the positive thoughts or empty mind, right? As empty as possible. Then, as you attempt to do it, it becomes much better in a few months and few weeks. Sometimes, according to the person, people really slow down, and then they are enjoying the silence that is there in our mind too. That is the thing. You want to come and establish your in silence, and then use the thought whenever you are doing something. And after the deed is done, the task is done, using the thought is over, finish it off. That's the key. Once you have that kind of real control, then meditation becomes a huge asset, because we sleep better, and in sleep we kind of set our mind and body in order, and that way our health is better, and also our focus is better, and we don't have the swing modes too that much. So there are so many benefits when you really put in a some kind of meditation practice every day. The simplest thing is pick up a couple of times in the morning and in the evening. Right after you get out of the bed, I recommend that is the time you want to calm down, take deep breaths, get all the focus back, and then be in the present. Then you will be carrying that through the day, and then at the end of the day, review the day and put all those negatives out of your mind. These kind of simple things will help you to really get the real benefit of the meditation. I kind of enjoy the silence all the time, and people can be arguing in front of me. I will be listening to them, but I don't get into the reactionary mode, right? So I would take in what is going on, what is the problem, what we should fix. Then I respond to it. Either I will suggest ways that we can try, or if they are not listening, I will withdraw from the situation, because there's no point of making our also reactionary. That way, all those reactions carry within us, right? So I just want to be calm and quiet atmosphere at work, and most of them it happens. But as a physician, when we encounter with the real issues of the patient, some people in the heat of the moment can lose their cool and all that, right? So if I'm leading a team and people are there, and if I'm also like that, they will lose it. But if I can remain quiet and calm and listen, active listen to the other people, then they will be able. So this is all because of the understanding what is the role of the mind, where it can go much, where it can go really berserk, understanding all of that, and then eliminating the reasons for that would help. So meditation is not just sitting down and doing something, but really having all this insight into that. And then you can have your own practice according to whatever you are trained or you are familiar with or you are comfortable with, So there are so many basic practices like breath control to one word repetition or prayer or just doing some mantra. All those things are there. For me, I don't really advise simple things all the time. Start with simple thing, then advance into the better practices where eventually you turn your mind on itself. That is the Raja Yoga, king of all yogas. That's why they put like Raja means king, right? That kind of yoga studies mind in its operations, and then kind of grows out of those habits and then becomes very quiet. The solitude of mind is there even among when you are very very active. So you can check yourself as a laboratory. Couple of people I know, they went to the busiest centers in New York and also in Tokyo, and the Times Square, New York, and then Tokyo also. There was something like where a lot of people come at the same time, and this man stands there and testing himself. That's really brave. Then he experienced that silence that he had was continuing there. So um, because he's paying attention, he's aware and all of that. So meditation can be very very beneficial in the real life situations because we won't allow unconscious actions from the mind. So this goes on like this. Let me tell you my experience of importance needed was I was just new coming from India at the time. I was not familiar with this country at all, but only thing I know is medicine. And I was in this big hospital. So I had to learn all the workings of the hospital, what goes on. Totally different at them. This was back in 1981. And in November I came, and 82, 83 I was taking exams and then joined the residency, and everything fell on my shoulders. And then 1 year into the residency, they kind of promoted me to a much bigger job, which was really too much for me, for my experience. But then, because of the merit or whatever conditions they have, they promoted me to the chief. And then many people were kind of resentful of that, and then they started to give me hard time. But understanding the stress, understanding this meditation, all those things gave me some base and balance, right? And so I turned the whole thing around by just being quiet and listening to people and asking them to help me to get things better, and involving them as friends and all that. Then they changed and become very good friends and helped me throughout my 2 year stunt there. Right? So we achieved a lot in that 2 years period. So I was very happy about that. We kind of transformed the whole department. So 720 patients in the department, and so many buildings are there. So it's a lot of. We used to have this moped like that. We used to run in the corridors with that. This was such a huge hospital. The important thing for me there was I read a book by another doctor who was having stress the same way, and he took some time off, and then he wrote a book, Healing the Healer. That is the title of the book, and so that means you have to step out of the routines and then take care of yourself. But for me, right nick in the time, I was able to understand how to calm our mind, how to really listen to people, how to come with an attitude of quietude and the hot temper. All those things came to me because of the meditation practices, right? So from there onwards, I got into 85. I think I first started teaching yoga and meditation, and then ever since I'm teaching my colleagues, my patients, my family, my friends, and everybody, even in the clubhouse too, have been doing that. And then I've been also embarking on the study of all this. Where did this come from? How did they start? How did they do advanced practitioner? What are the capacities they have? How is that they can produce tremendous works of sculpture, painter, music, literature, you name it. They have this excellent quality of work because they were coming with a balance within, and the meditation was a big deal for them. Prayer, also a lot of people, and faith and belief, all those things play a role too. It was much easier for many Indians because they have the bhakti, that is devotion. So they have intense feeling about the God, and then trust in God, faith in God. All those things helped them a lot, and they were doing every day morning. They get up and get ready, and before they go to work or before they eat anything, they will sit in front of the deity, and then they do the prayer. Hi Joyce, come on up. Okay. So that's how I saw as a child how people were doing them, but we were not doing them. We were just running to school, and the school is a loving attention was paid to us, so it was not like a punishment for us. It was more like a good experience. So that's how I have seen people being very, very quiet and calm who are doing the meditation. So when I took it up, it was not like a major introduction to me, but rather something familiar I saw in my life with other people. That was easy. Hi Joyce, I'm talking about meditation today.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I was describing complete process brief, but I'm going to go details into that. Do you do meditation, Joyce? What experience?
I don't at this time. I did some of that relaxation response stuff back years and years ago. Yeah, that Herbert Benson book, I came across that. So that was when I was first coming down with my illness, and it was helpful at that stage.
Yeah.
Later on, I couldn't really do meditation.
Yeah. I get a lot of requests from the colleagues and from other people that I work with now because of this information overload in the medical, in other fields also. But I'm very familiar with all that CME we have to do, all the new journals we have to refer, and all. This was before AI. AI making it much easier that way. But then what happened, AI is reaching out more information than we need sometimes. So the information overload is flourishing even with AI doing so many things for us. So uh, you got to have an audit how much we are using the devices, this technology how much we are spending time to be with the nature, to be calm in ourselves, and to be silent in ourselves, that kind of thing. There was something funny that one time they told, uh, in Hindi, I will tell you, first they say, hilo mat. That means don't move your body. No? Soch mat. Don't think anything. And bolo mat. That means don't speak anything. If you can be like that for a few minutes, then meditation is very, very easy. Okay. So uh, you are sitting down and you kind of stationary in your body, and then you are not speaking anything, or you are not having any distractions around you like a TV, the conversations and all that. Then focus on what's going on in me, what kind of thoughts are coming, what not think about them, analyze them, but be the witness. Watch the thoughts, and then they slow down. Once they slow down, the deep breath slows down much better. Then, being the watcher, you can see, am I having a lot of negative thoughts, or am I having a lot of happy thoughts, those kind of things. Once you identify them, then you have a chance to really turn them into something positive, or dismiss them altogether because they are not worth having, that kind of thing. So then you go and do the deep meditation. As people do that, quite often. But then there are so many methods. Some are really worth it, some are not. But I tell them some of the methods can be habit forming. They're not harmful or anything, but they may take long time. My approach is to first understand what is this whole thing. How can you incorporate this into a much simpler way? Um, for example, I teach what's called moment to moment awareness. That means as things happen, you live completely in that, you pay attention to it, and as soon as this is done, you dump the whole thing, not carrying it away unless it is really needed. That kind of practice very few people do. They kind of allow the network of thought to grow because they are thinking on it continuously. And that is sometimes difficult for people because they are doing multitasking. At the same time, they're thinking about multitasking too. So all those thoughts kind of, if you are thinking unconsciously, they accumulate and they form lot of clutter, lot of dirt in your mind. And that's why your mind is not pure to receive higher knowledge and all that. So leave alone all that, but you feel relaxed, you feel peaceful, you feel that sense of bliss with that quietness. That is missing in modern life because we kind of carry on the thought process from the work into our regular life. And nowadays, they don't have respite from the work. They take the work from home and they continue to do, and they do all, especially these entrepreneurs are using the internet and social media. They are doing a lot more work than otherwise they were doing before. So this is a phenomena. So I thought this is the time when you understand, I will do it, but then I will do the work intensely for a certain time, and after that I will take it easy, and then after I restore the balance, come back to work. That kind of thing. Make sense, Joyce?
Yeah. I was thinking about it, and I have a feel. I'm pretty sure that my experience of having meditated in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you call it meditation, what Dr. Benson taught, the relaxation response, but just the experience of that, I'm sure it's had long-term effects on me.
Yeah, it does. It does, because you will relax much faster than other people. That is, I know Dr. Benson's relaxation response book, and I gave to a lot of my patients for the high blood pressure. See, I didn't want to hit them with this very deep spiritual stuff, because I don't want a mistake. I'm trying to spread something Indian or Hindu, which was not my intention at all, because I read all the things, and I don't claim that I'm this particular. I don't belong to anybody. That's the thing. But I do learn from everybody, So Uh, the origin of relaxation response to Dr. Herbert Benson, because he talks about this in he has an institution, relaxation response. In that, a lot of things are. He took what's called mantra yoga. Mantra means something you take a word and you go on repeat that. The mantra people will get from their own gurus and all that. It could be religious or it could be something that's important for them and all that. You don't have to have any religious stuff, but you can take one like that. You can repeat that, or you can repeat any name that you want and all. Only thing is, you got to anchor to that word. See, mantra real meaning is the meaning of mantra. Dhyayate mananam mantra. That means it anchors the mind as you are repeating that. You can do that by repeating that and then keeping the mind here anchored to that word or whatever you are saying, a sentence and all that, and that will kind of gives the balance for the mind to stay here anchored to the breath and all that. So that is the essence of entire mantra yoga. And then what they did was uh, they took that mantra, took away the cultural religious stuff, and made it into something very easy, and also studied the scientific effects of that kind of sitting down, repeating that, what happens to the nervous system, and then how this physiological phenomena, which is relaxation response, happens. And then once that happens, actually the relaxation for the entire organism. That's the beauty about relaxation response. So it's more like a technique to settle your mind and then really experience this physiological response. And that is something from the higher mental centers, pituitary, hypothalamus, and all that. So your hormonal regulation much better, and also you don't have the consequences of the hormones like stress and all that. So it's a lot of benefits, and also once you learn to do long enough and you are able to initiate that relaxation response, that will be there for you in the long run. You see, and it can be, you can bring it out very quickly now because you have experienced that before. But you have to have the same principles. First, calm down, sit down, then focus on one thing, and then repeat that one thing several times. So that how it works. I made my patients who had high blood pressure, anxiety, or some kind of continuous thinking about worrying about things the moment they know certain disease. Some people are psychosomatic because they make their somatic thing much worse by thinking about this continuously, right? So that's why I told them, do this as a routine after taking the shower, and also afternoon after nap and all that. They did them, and then I was able to cut down their blood pressure medications or anxiety medications, things like that. So I had a lot of success with the relaxation response of Dr. Burns. I wrote it in the paper and gave it to them at the time, 80s, 90s, no internet, nothing, right? But that was very useful for them. Actually, I ran into trouble with another physicians at another clinic I was working, and I was very young, so I kind of opted to work extra. So I was working in the clinic because family friends introduced me to that doctor, and doctor husband is the manager. So I started to give this kind of relaxation, get better, all those advice to the patient. And he was very mad about that. He said, we are selling, at the time they can own the pharmacy. With the pharmacy, they have a lot of medications to sell. And as I'm telling them to do these things, they are cutting down the medications. So he was very mad that I'm making them lose money because they are not able to sell the medications.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised he would admit that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he came and told me that. Not even admitting, he came and told me that we are losing money because you are making them better, faster with these things. Don't do that. He did not say, "Oh, this is alternative medicine now," because he knows how this works. He's also Indian, so he knows all those things how they work. But his thing was his business is going. Of course, I did not stay there because I went there for a few extra bucks, very young, making the moonlighting and all that. But afterwards, I left. And later on, it so happened is I became a big shot in a big hospital there, right? And they came there for a dinner or something, and they found me there and having this promise with the whole ceremony. Then he was very surprised. He thought I was a good for nothing person because I'm advising my patients to get better. But that kind of attitude I never sacrificed. I kind of walked away from situations where they don't want to see the validity of it because they are busy people, right? So they don't want to change anything. And that is the problem with the majority of the hospital systems anyway. So I'm much better now because I can combine modern medicine with ancient wisdom, but they really do not want to sell snake oil or really load them with medications either way. I feel as a physician much better because I'm focusing on the healing of my patient, not just to treat only the symptoms. Meditation is one of those things is very important because most of us on this rat race, and then sometimes we are hooked to that because we don't have any alternative to get out of it. We don't have time to have this kind of inner studies that I talk about, or they don't have any chance to do that too. So I sympathize with that. I understand what they're going through. So I kind of teach them how to be meditative awareness. That's a whole lot of different thing. So if you are really bringing your awareness to the front and then thinking in that's a whole lot difference. Then what happens is thinking by itself subsides and you are aware all the time. And your thinking actually more clear, more crisp, and also intellectually your higher intellectual functions really flower. So you can do a lot more things in less time if you can understand and be in that, what I'm talking about. Welcome, Rene. So Austin is from the beginning. So I will invite Rene and see whether they want to come.
I'm encouraged by at least some health systems focusing more on prevention, which I guess fits more with the HMO and the value-based care and all that, where it's not fee for service, where the sicker they are, the more money the doctor makes. That's just not very good alignment of incentives like there should be. So I like Kaiser Permanente, like we talked about before, and I hope they can lead the way to helping people prevent illness and minimize drug use and so on.
No, that's true.
A lot of people don't like to take drugs all the time. In fact, it's a big problem.
Generally, patient
only about 30% take their medication as prescribed.
Generally, Joyce, many of the patients, from my experience, if you show them rationally, not by imposing this, but then treating them like intelligent human beings, and then give them all the information, all the questions are answered, they can see through this. Okay, and then once they subjectively feel that they are getting better sleep, they are feeling their functions are improving better, and they are able to focus, they are able to not really suffering the stress. People like to learn, but it should not be something that is going to make them take away from their own religion or from their own culture and all that. You don't have to, because this is like understanding the brain. How does it work? What are the intricacies of brain? And then how can we turned it toward advantage for us. That's why in yoga we call this self reshaping. So from anxious all over the map, you're thinking all sorts of things, from that to somebody sedate, quiet, focused, concentrated worker, and then you are not going to let all the situation get to you by reacting all the time. They can easily see that, but they may not be able to do that because it's very tough to in the beginning. But then you encouragement and also give them the data, give them the understanding. They listen to me lots of times. We were able to cut down some medications on some people, but there are some very few people who kind of completely cut down the medications because they were very sincere about these lifestyle changes that I make. I actually call TLC, therapeutic lifestyle changes. So it's not just meditation only; it's other things also. Uh, that kind of therapeutic lifestyle changes. Hi, Sanya, come on up. So we kind of. Hi, Sanya. Yeah, sure. So I can hear you now. So you fix the problem probably. So that meditation, if you teach them rightly and if you don't push them too hard and then you encourage them. So I have my ways of following them up, and then they sometimes I'll be with them when they want to do it. So I used to have this luxury after 5 o'clock, our own reception area, we call it. We don't call it waiting area, we call it reception area. There are several chairs and all of that. So I used to invite some people with the same thing like obesity, anxiety, or high blood pressure, these kind of people. Then I will do a class like after 5 o'clock. That's like here. I just come and speak, and then they have question, they answer. That's more like a networking thing for us. All my patients are understood very well, and they related to other patients. And so it was an informal affair. Because I own my clinic, I could do whatever I want. So I used to reserve that 5 to 6 for that occasionally, and we used to invite these people to come, and then they were able to really understand these mechanisms much better. It's like informal gathering that we used to have. It's like a satsang. I do it now in the Saturday morning. I used to do it in the clinic a lot. So inform them, give them material, make them understand why meditation was not taken up before. But now, as I said, Joyce, this is good. Kaiser, not only Kaiser, Cleveland, Mayo. I worked with Mayo quite a lot because I'm in the Midwest, and some of the tertiary hospitals we have to transfer. I preferred Mayo because they are so thorough, and also saw the workup and everything. They do half a day. Other people will do like 3 months. So I was very impressed with Mayo, and I also have some books written by the Mayo doctors on this meditation. Yes, I wanted to see. Most of them go to some extent, but then they don't go beyond that because they don't have this Eastern perspective. I'm kind of blessed with both. That's why I can use it better approaches for different patients. That's the blessing we have. Hi, Sonia. We are talking about meditation today.
I was thinking another term that's been used and talked about a lot recently is mindfulness, which I guess is somewhat similar.
Yeah, I don't really like the term because I used awarenessfulness rather than mindfulness, because in the mindfulness, essentially what we mean is emptying the mind and focusing on one thing. But a lot of people think I have to think hard, I have to think more, and all of that. They defeat their purpose. And also, it could be like a whack-a-mole. You quiet it down, and the next time you go again, you have to do it, and they quiet it down, and again. So it's kind of a after a while, it becomes really a torture for them. Okay. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Good. How are you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any comments? Anything that we are talking about?
Yeah, so are we talking about what the definition of meditation is, or what does it mean to us? Just want to get a little clarity on that.
Yeah, everybody knows the meditation is calming the mind down, focusing and all that. But I'm kind of trying to give the history, the evolution, especially the need now with all our information overload. And because I treat people with stress and burnout quite a lot, and some of the very accomplished doctors are also kind of having this, burnout because they have too much work, too much material, too much thinking, and they allowed their maid to run like that for several decades. Now they're finding very difficult to relax or sleep and all. So that shows in their health and that shows in their relationship, and that's when they come and talk to me. So as we are focusing on the wellness, basically, I kind of go everywhere towards that. And somebody asked about can we do on meditation a series? I said, okay, we'll start and see where people are, what they want to know, and from there. So if you guys have your own experiences, I would like to listen to them. If you have questions, I would like to answer them. And otherwise, I can take up steps of meditation and do them with you too. It's like an informal session. It's not like a something anything serious.
So I know, at least for me, the meditation journey has come through many different layers and ways in my life.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you're at and what is being called to you.
Yeah.
And I really got exposed to meditation. I just got out of the U.S. Army. I served for 20 years. And it was the Republic of Korean soldiers that taught me Taekwondo that really introduced me to meditation, because you meditated first for 15 minutes, and then you went into practicing Taekwondo. So you first to learn how to get that inner peace before you learn how to be more fighting.
Yeah.
And I spent 12 months in Afghanistan and 15 months in Iraq. And I was put in scenarios where I had to utilize meditation.
Yeah.
I was exposed to it, working 12-hour shifts, managing multiple networks. And every night I went home, I did a little bit of Kundalini yoga, and then I did meditation. Okay. So really, you want to talk about quieting the mind in Baghdad?
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it, but throughout my life, I ended up becoming a Reiki master and realizing I need meditation to be able to facilitate healing.
Yeah.
And where I'm at right now in my life, through my own friends' conversations, is I'm learning to meditate more on the no mind, the no mind meditation, or the beyond the mind.
Yeah.
And going past the layers, because we get so stuck in our thoughts.
Yeah.
And getting to that part of our psyche, soul, energy, whatever, that is past logic and emotions.
Yeah.
And getting to that point, that is really powerful.
Excellent.
And that's right now.
Excellent, Rana, because whatever you have done so far, it's called projection of thought. What you want to get at is what's called manonasha. That means destroying the mind itself. That means not really destroying, but transcending the so-called mind structure, realizing that's nothing but bunch of thoughts. And then you don't have an identification of the mind as such, and so you are in the no mind. Still you have thinking, still you have emotions and all those, but then you don't attach it to something like Dr. Rao's mind, Dr. Rao works like this, my mindset works like this. Those things are not there, such a freedom. Then you are only have the thing of thoughts there, and then you can really establish yourself in that silent, quiet, serene blissfulness, and then use thought. So you very correctly identified where you are and where you want to go, but don't use thought for that. That is the limitation. But the moment you go into thought, again you are dragged into the projection of the mind. So that's like a vacuum. You're coming up and going down. But this blissful solitude that you are, the peace you are, you once you establish there, that's why I call it as awareness itself. Once you bring that forth to the thoughts, actually you worked on a very, very difficult external circumstances. That's a wonderful testimony to your kind of dealing with so-called stressful situations and coming out of them in one piece, and also coming out of them in better health. So I'm glad that you came and talked about that. But this is a mano nasha, where you are not saying I have a conditioned mind or I'm made like this, this is what I do, all those things out of the window. You actually, what you do, you live in the moment, in awareness all the time. So that what happens is you don't accumulate any remnants from the whatever happened. We both are talking, you may remember the structure of one and all of that, but you want to be in that energy. You as a Reiki person, you also know about the energy transmission. So what happens with this energy is it will be actually in balance, but life comes, we go out of balance. All we have to do is the Reiki or yoga or acupuncture thing, we want to restore the existing balance. That takes some time doing, because a lot of people do a lot of things to themselves without knowing, and then they are out of balance. For me, this kind of balance energy works like this. I worked with a lot of things today because I was making short videos from my big videos and all that. And also I had meetings in the morning. I met our people also. And then I was having some things that were me and my wife were doing today, this afternoon, some official work. And now I come here. I still don't have the dip in energy. Actually, my energy goes up from morning till evening. So that is the beauty of it. I'm telling you, Renee, because you know what the Renee thing does to people and how they feel and all. Yoga is also like that. Really uplifts your energy a lot, right? I'm glad you came up and told me that, Renee. I'm very happy.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So that mano nasha, if you want to talk to me more about it, because it's a pretty deep subject, and then it should not be taken lightly. But once you embark on that, the journey will be wonderful. So if you want to talk to me, you can reach out to me. Then I can talk to you at that level, you may say. Then it will be much more sensible for somebody like you than other people. Other people may think I'm crazy.
You put in the text the word that you said.
Yeah.
I did get it.
Mano nasha. Mano is mind. Nasha is destruction.
Nasha. Okay.
N-A-S-A. N-A-S-A. That's all.
I'm doing it's called Isha Kriya meditation right
now.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like for 20 minutes where you inhale saying I am not this body, and you exhale saying I'm not even this mind.
Yeah, I know. Like
I know. I don't know if you've heard of that, but
I know that, but then I know that very well, because really nice. I know their whole story, and then I talk to people about this one also. But they are basically doing is, remember, you are taking a deep breath in, right? And deep breath out. So if you can go into that, taking the deep breath, like saying that, who am I? And at the end of the breath, you are returning all the life that is coming into you, the prana, the Reiki energy, whatever, right? That energy you let you come into you, you're going to hold it. That is what I am, that life force, that awareness I am. So first question you answer as you take a breath, who am I? Then you say, okay, this life is giving, without that I don't animate my body and mind. So body and mind are my properties. I don't want to identify with them. Then as I breathe out, I take out all that association with my body and mind, all the toxins, everything goes out. That's where I say, I'm not this body and mind, but who am I? I am this awareness that is central to me. That is the one which animates my body. Basically, this is what it is. Are we spiritual being having a human experience, or are we human beings trying to elevate ourselves to spiritual being? The argument is this: we are essentially spiritual being, and we have a body and mind, and that's why we go to the human experience. That becomes much easier because you are stabilized in your true nature, and then the internal instrument of mind you are using, and also the external instrument of body you are using. Then what happens is, psychosomatically you are separated from reactions of the mind to the problems of the body. Suppose you are diagnosed with something, your mind can make it much worse than it is because you are worried, you are thinking, you have the stress hormones. This is where the break happens. Actually, all the materials and humans, we have these three different kind of bioenergies that are born with: the inertia, and the fluid-like thing that is like a really running energy, and the combination of the energies, right? So tamas, rajas, and sattva, and everybody is a combination of these things. One of them will be dominant. Understanding that, correcting that will be there. So when you are doing the Isha Kriya, what it is you are saying, I don't want to associate with something temporary, which is the body and mind. They are going to cease and exist, but I'm going to identify with what is permanent in me, that life or that conscious being. That's what I want to identify with, right? Then you will be able to really lead a very exalted, blissful, peaceful life. So they call that Sat Chit Anand, our essential thing, right? What does it mean is, what is existence, what is conscious or aware, and that itself is the base. All the three are together one. But once you land up in that dimension of ours, which is our inner abundance, then life is beautiful. That's what they're trying to teach you there. Just because you say a word, I'm not this body and mind, you are not getting away from your attachment to that. You got to have this kind of insight and then exploration into that. Make sense?
Yeah, I'm just taking everything you're saying, and that's what I was saying at the very beginning when I started talking.
Yeah.
The meditation came into my life through waves.
Yeah.
As I started learning, get more educated and matured in life.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was now ready to get to this phase of meditation. Yeah. And it is a practice. As I say, meditation is a practice. It's not something you just do on the weekends, you know. It has to be incorporated into your life.
To a certain extent, really, it is a practice, you know. But after you reach a certain point, it becomes the state where you are in, you know. But you are right. You got to allow that to, like a child gets up and stands up and then takes a few steps and then runs later on. They like that. The mind and the body, they need training for this.
Yes, and now it's just organically, naturally just folded into my life.
Yeah. But still, it is a long time to establish yourself in your true nature. That's what you are trying to do, and that's where these things have to be experienced. You know. Any other questions? Anybody? Sanya, you have any comments or questions?
Sorry, I'm just driving back around. So, I do a different kind of meditation now, but I used to do Isha Kriya too. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so, but you know, what you described, right? It's just a wonderful practice and a reminder, and you know, in terms of what you said around the language.
Yeah.
And I am now really appreciating that, right?
Yeah.
time in my experiences becoming meditative, right?
Yeah.
For me too. Yeah. So it's just like, like I said the other day, I'm just enjoying everything that comes to me now, so no matter what.
Yeah. Actually, this is called Turiya state, the fourth state. Like we have the waking state, number one, dream state, number two, and deep sleep state, that's three. That is the experience of every human being, right? You and me and everybody. But then, where is your mind during the day? Where is your mind in the dream state? Where is your mind in sleep? If you put it simply, we kind of awake both bodily and mind-wise during the waking state. And when you go to the dream state, body has fallen, but mind is still active because all the impressions that you have during the day, they are carrying on and their mind trying to put in order. I'm putting very bluntly. And the third one is where your body and the mind have taken kind of rest. But then you have this consciousness still continuing as your true self. That is the deep sleep. That is when you are really revived, reorganized. And if you can allow the deep sleep to longer, but all these three states, through all the states, there is consciousness in waking and dreaming and sleep. That they call fourth state. Actually, it's not fourth state, but it's a underlying current between the three two. So you want to be in that as much as possible, which is very difficult because people identify with the body, identify with the mind, and that's why they are not able to do a lot of stuff like that. But once you understand this and the whole thing is reversed, simply I will put one word and remember that. I think it will be much easier to understand. Is your awareness is in the background or is in the front? You question yourself. If you are having awareness to the front, you have achieved a lot.
I was going to say, Dr. Well, I know people have talked about astral projections and stuff like that. Can you explain that?
This is your problem, Sanya. I know you, because bringing the projection of that mind, that could be a theory, that could not be a reality, because unless you experience it, is not reality. So if you hear these kind of things, immediately mind takes it up and then goes into the network. Don't do that, because these are beliefs, or these are somebody's hearsays and all that. It's not in your purview. So what it is see what it is. Somebody's experience, somebody's truth may be, but it's not your truth. The more you are in your truth, but not hearsay, not somebody's theory and all that, the better it is for us. So, remember I was telling you the difference between a scientist and technologist and the yogi. The scientist objective data. We have theory. We can cast some experiments, and then we kind of come to conclusions, and then more people will try it out and then establish. Then we say, okay, this really works for us. We may change it as we understand. That's what happens with the medicine too. We always have a continuous medical education because our truth changes in terms of that treatment and all that. And out of that experiment that the science does, we have the tools of technology, which is also for external stuff. We do a lot of it. And then yogi will not believe like that. He has to be his experience. In his experience, what is happening. So the better thing would be not to trust anything, not to learn to, not to doubt, but then just doubt it, question it, examine it, feel it, and intuitively experience it. Then once you discover this is the truth, I was able to experience, I was doing not just just feeling like that, but you will come to that after intense exam, intense doubting, questioning, and all that. So then the truth of yours is the authority, not the authority as the truth. Most people come and say, oh, I know this, I'm the authority, I'm going to teach because I have these degrees. No, it doesn't matter for the inner matters. It has to be your own experience. Yeah.
The other thing that I want, I went to the meditation that they had. I also do it before, I go to sleep, right? And because you're supposed to put away everything, right?
Yeah.
So that meditation helps in terms of repetition before you go to sleep, and it's not just on the way to your sleep that helps, because I haven't been dreaming,
Yeah.
And,
Good.
which is kind of strange, but
yeah, that's very simple though. During the day, whatever you do, are you completely aware of it, attentive to it? So I repeat this all the time. Attention to every action during the day really cut down the dreams, because when you are really paying that kind of attention, you hardly retain anything or you hardly extend the thoughts and all that. So there are no residues generally. So brain is able to put those mind much more order, especially if you do the review of reactions. I teach all the time about, I taught you so many times, that if you do that, then the mind has not very much work to do. It's already set to be in order. So it happens very quickly. Actually, that's much better. You see, I'm almost 70, right? But I can think very clearly. I'm very focused. I'm very relaxed and energetic because of this understanding the brain, understanding the mind, understanding the thought, and being in awareness, attention. Those things really conserve a lot of energy also. Otherwise, you're thinking all sorts of things which you don't need, and you don't focus very well and do the work, and also you will expend lot of energy. That is my secret. Ever renewing energy. So you can renew the energy as you go the day. You are not exhausted because you are doing all this extraneous thinking. Flow state. Be in the flow state and do the work, and then that induces very. I'm glad you don't have much dreams, but probably you are very attentive during the day, and that's why you don't have to work that much. Very good. Actually, it's a good thing for the um, inner health and also settlement of the brain and all that. So there is Dina, there is Anita, Austin. Any of you want to come up and talk to us? You're more than welcome. Renee brought us a beautiful experiences that she was having about this. I had the chance of talking about Mano Nasha. Usually I don't get the chance because people are not looking for that kind of thing. So it's almost 7 o'clock now. So we usually do 6 to 7 this room. Okay. So if you don't have any other questions and comments, I will close the room and I will meet again tomorrow.
thank you, Dr.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow then. Okay.